Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. What I want to do today is to get started on our, what we'll call the Breguet Nouveau or the Faux Breguet. To build a watch, we start with the movement. And the movement that we're using is a Seagull caliber ST3621. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly this clone. It's basically a clone of an ETA 6498. And so let's take a look at it. And this is what we're starting with. Now, there are two sides. One side I'm going to call the dial side, and the other side I'm going to call the back. So we'll start with the dial side. And this is where you'll be putting the hands and the dial on top of the movement. Now, the way it comes with two hands. The larger of the two hands that's in the center is the minute hand, and you have to take that out. And probably, if you don't have the tools, and you probably don't, you can make them yourselves. This is a little device that I simply cut this off the side of a plastic bottle. I think it was a mouthwash bottle or something. And what I could do with it is simply put it right underneath where the hand is. Put it under the little post. And the reason for that is so you don't damage the movement. And you put it under there, and you take the tweezers, and you you just sort of twist it up like this. Now you're doing this, you have it underneath the hand, and you have your tweezers, and you pump it up that way. Now, if you happen to have some other tools, the one that I like for removing hands is sort of this, it's got like a little hook at the end, but it's a lever, and you just put it under the hand and pop it right off. Probably the most popular hand remover is one of these gizmos, and you just put it over the hand and pull it off. I find these things awkward. You could even use your screwdriver. You could put one of these up and then take the screwdriver and just sort of twist the screwdriver until it lifts it off. Whatever you do, do it very gently. Save the hands. You might be able to use them. On the bottom, there's a second hand that's used. That'll be going around. Take it off too. Okay, now a couple things that you need to take a look at right away, and we'll come back to them later on. Take a look at the back of the movement. Flip it over, and what you'll see here is that you have that long arm going up, and then a little chart that says fast and slow. The long stick is the regulator, and that's how you can change the frequency on it if it's going too fast or too slow. The reason that's important for getting started, is that right near the tip of that long regulator arm, there's a little hole, and this is where we're going to be using that hole. And there's taking a screwdriver, and it looks like a screw, but what it is a clamp, and we turn that. There's one up at the tip of the regulator, and there's another one right just exactly opposite on the back. So just sort of have those two things in mind on your movement. Okay, so to get started, the first thing we're going to do is take a look at this gearing. Now, I mentioned that there was like a pole, and we lifted the minute hand off of that pole. Well, what we're going to do is that on that pole, we're going to put a gear that's an hour gear, and it just sort of fits over that, and it has a sleeve. and the sleeve is wider than the post itself. And over that sleeve, we'll be putting the hour hand. And then on top of the post is where the minute hand goes. But we're going to be using Breguet hands for both of those. And so what you do is you take your tweezers and you pick up that little gear. I'm going to call it the hour gear, and you put it over the center post. Now, usually you'll find the hour gear and then a little washer. Now, the washer looks like somebody bent it like this. That's important. Leave it bent. It's supposed to be. So you take that and you take your tweezers and you put it right over the center post. And so now you have the hour gear on the center post. The next thing you do is you take that little washer and you put it right on top of and this is, remember, you want it sort of curved upward. So when you put it over the hour hand, it's going to be curved upwards a little. Okay, now the next thing we do is it's set now to put the dial on. Okay, let me get this thing. I'll hold it with a thing right here. Okay, here's the dial. Now we got a dial made of enamel. It's coated with enamel. And if we turn that over on the back of the dial, there are these two little sticks pointing out. They're called dial feet. And the dial feet secure the movement to the dial. The dial, I should say, the dial puts the feet into the movement and it secures the two together. And so that's what we want to do next. So you put now remember, you have the hour hand on there. By the way, too, it's always a good idea to use some kind of cushion or something for it. If you don't have a cushion, you can make a cushion. Just take a paper towel and fold it over a few times, or cut out a piece of styrofoam. But it's always good to have a soft, sort of a softer place on that. Okay, so here's your, this is what it'll eventually look like. You're going to set it on this. Now, what you're going to see is that you have 3 holes, or 2 holes, in the dial. The center hole is where we're going to set that up. That's right here. And then at 6 o'clock down here is another hole. This is for the second hand. And the center one is for the hour and the minute hand. Okay, so all you have to do is to put the dial over the movement on the dial side and align the 3 with the stem. You see the stem and crown sticking out right here. So align the 3 with that. Put the center post over the center hole, and then align the bottom one where there's a little bitty post for the second hand. And then you just move it around a little, very lightly, and the feet will slip into the holes, the special holes that they have that are made for them in the movement. Okay, so now you have the dial on. Now the next thing you do is that you've got to turn this whole thing over, right? And usually the best way to do it is that if you have something, just hold it like this, and then you have some place for a soft landing, and you just do that, and then you have the back. You can see the back now of the watch, or of the movement. Okay, so we have that. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to have a little video, and video sort of shows you how to put the different parts together. You can simply use these still shots, and if you do this, what I would suggest is stop the video, make sure you do it right. This is what's important. You don't want to make a mistake here and do something wrong and wreck the dial or some other part of it. They're not terribly delicate, but you know, you don't want to see if you can break them like I do. Okay, so let's take a look at the little video. Okay, so now what you want to do is that you find a little gear like this. This should be with come with your movement, or sometimes it comes with the case. And what you do is that you take this is the gearing for your hour hand, and so you put it right here. You'll see a little post right in the middle, and you put it right over the center of it, okay, like that. Now you should see some of the posts sticking up through this. This wider sleeve is where the hour hand goes, and then on the one on the inside is where the little sticking up a little further than that. And then on top of that, there's a washer, and you put the washer on like this. And so one of the things about the washer, you want to see it bending upward, okay? Now, what you need to do is that when you put the dial on top of this has to go there first. And if it's not there, it'd be a problem. Now, here is that once you have the, better, hold with 2 hands, have the case here. You have what you've done when you put the dial on top here. You should center it with the hole right here is what you'll see coming out of here. You can see the little post or the top of the post. The easiest way to do this is to align the 3 right here with the stem. Okay, there's the stem and the crown, and the 3 should be aligned on that. And what you do, you put it on there, and then you just move it a little, and the dial feet should fall right into the holes that are made for it. Okay, so you want to have the 3 is where you see the stem, and the center wheel, and then down here is where you'll have your post for your second hand. Okay, so that's the first thing. And the next thing we'll do is we'll turn it over and we'll lock it. Now, if you don't have a pad like this, it's called a case pad. This is a very cheap one. You can get an expensive one. What I did is you could take a paper towel and simply fold up the paper towel, and you want to have a soft place for the movement parts and everything to go. Okay, after seeing the video, you should have a pretty good idea of how to put it together. Now, the last thing we're going to do today is to secure the dial to the movement. Right now, essentially, you have the dial sitting on top of the movement like this. And so you want to take, you can do it with a cloth or something, and you want to press down and make sure that there's a nice, tight, secure connection between the dial and the movement. And you can see the pictures there. And so you want to have that all ready to go. Now, when you flip it over, what you have to do is you have the feet in these holes, and there are 2 holes on the other side, and there are these little, what I call screw clamps. They look like screws, but they're not. They're little, like, sort of half circles. And what they do is that you turn a half circle, and then they uh, they hold the dial feet in place, which means they hold the whole dial. And so that's how the dial is secured. You turn them, you don't want to turn them very far. You want to turn them far enough, but not too far. You don't want to force it and possibly break one of the dial feet. So where are they? Now, on the very first image, I showed you the sort of the larger picture of the back of the movement and where the dial feet were. Here is a close-up. Now, this screwdriver, there's really only two screwdrivers you need. One with a red band or a red top, and the other one with a purple band or a purple top. This is the one that use the purple one. The way you should hold these screwdrivers is simply like this. You put your index finger on the top, and then using your thumbs and other fingers, just roll it, and that's how you screw it in. It's really simple, but this is a proper way to do it, and you want to hold it perpendicular. You don't want to do this or this. And what the reason for that is that you can mess up a screw that way. And the same thing with the screwdriver. For I think the rest of the screws, we'll be using a red screwdriver, the one with a little red band. This, I think, is the only time for putting this one together that we're going to need the one with the purple band, because the screw heads are a little wider than they are on most of the other ones we're going to be dealing with. All right, so the first screw, you can look for you can see the little part of the design there. Over on the far right, you can see there's the balance wheel, and there's some little drawing, then another little drawing. And then in the top image, you can see that the tip of the little drawing, and then you can see where the screw is. The bottom screw is at the top of the regulator stick or arm. And so you just sort of like use the regulator, just follow it right to the tip, and if you put it in the center, if you put the regulator arm in the center, it'll literally point right to the second hole. So what you do is very carefully, you turn it about a half a turn. And if you feel resistance, that's fine, okay? Make sure, again, before you do it, you want to be sure that you have the dial and the movement tightly together. You do that to both of them. It doesn't matter which order it's in. And that's it. That's all we have to do today. You should take this slowly. You don't want to rush this. And essentially, this is what your watch is going to look like, something like this. The stem is on yours is probably going to be a little longer because this one was cut back. Now, eventually, this is where we're going. I've been working ahead of everybody for the watch we have. Now we have the watch, including the case and the hands and everything. We had that in a previous video. That one. This is where we're going with it. This is a case. The case that was recommended fits very well with this. It has the Breguet numbers on it, and it has the Breguet hands. And I think it's going to be a fun watch to have. Anyway, if you have any questions or any comments, or really say, hey, wait a minute, here's a better way to do that, let me know. If you're a professional watchmaker, quit laughing. All right. Okay. This is an opportunity to subscribe if you like. Until next time, this is Bill Sanders, Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.